What to do? What to do?
Is what I was asking myself after getting the platinum for Cuphead. I had no idea what game to platinum next. Looking at my library, I took another look at a game I had gotten years ago, Elden Ring. I got this game back when it first came out, but dropped it because I was still really into Call of Duty. Oh, right there. I know, Call of Duty. Now in current day, seeing Elden Ring just sitting there, I wanted to give it another shot. So please join me today as we explore the lands between and start this road to Platinum 4, Elden Ring. One thing before we start, sadly, I won't be covering the DLC in this video, and it's not because the DLC doesn't have any trophies, it's just because the video will take longer for me to make. I will visit the DLC, not today, but another day. Beginning the game, I had to create my character. For this build, I was going with the strength build, starting the game where I proceeded to die against this guy. Don't worry, I'll come back for my revenge later. After dying, I woke up in a cave and made my way out to Limgrave. My objective would be to obtain the greatsword that could be found in Caelid, but before I can even grab the weapon, I had to get my runes up to level up my strength and dex in order to wield the greatsword. After some time, I finally had enough runes to level up my strength and dex, but uh-oh. I thought I had leveled up the correct stats enough to use the greatsword, but no. It was then I realized my big mistake. I didn't level up my endurance, which would increase my equip level, which would allow me to wield the greatsword. So for now, I'm stuck using the Lord's Warren greatsword. After exploring some time and resting at the site of grace, I got invited to the Round Table Hold and got my first trophy. I kept exploring and arrived at Castle Morn. On the way to the castle, I ran into this NPC who asked me to deliver this letter to someone inside the castle. I arrived at the castle and found this other NPC called Edgar. Interacting with him started a small quest in which the NPC I met earlier had been killed. Skipping the quest, I made my way to the spot all the way near the ground and entered the boss fight against Leonine Misbegotten, which was a breeze, only after dying a good amount of times, which got me the trophy. I was feeling confident in my skills, therefore I made my way to the first big boss of the game, Margit the Fell Omen. Entering the boss fight, I found out really quickly how difficult this was going to be. He defeated me many times, so I left to get my runes up once again. After some time, I returned to avenge myself. Entering the boss fight once again, I struggled a bit but eventually won and got the trophy. The next location was just up ahead, Stormvale Castle. Making my way into the castle, fighting everything in sight, I found myself at the second boss, Godric the Grafted.
I command thee. I am the Lord of all that is golden.
This boss fight was fun, His second phase cutscene was cool, seeing him cut off his arm and replacing it with the head of a dragon. Thankfully I died 2 times before defeating him and getting the trophy, Shardbearer Godric. Skipping forward, I entered another boss fight, this time against Royal Knight Loretta. I thought it was going to be easy, but for me she was a pain in the ass. Suffering for some time, I finally defeated her. Then after talking with Ronnie and starting her quest, I made my way to Raya Lucaria, but I needed the key to enter, so I made my way to where the key was, right behind this dragon, and made my way back. Finally being able to enter and explore, after some time I found myself at the next boss, Red Wolf of Radagon. This boss would destroy me. I spent 1 hour on this boss fight, losing badly. I didn't want to quit because I thought I could do it, but no. I left it for another day because I wasn't making much progress. Coming back the next day, instead of jumping straight into the boss fight again, I needed to grind. This time around I had a new strategy to get runes fast. I started the quest for White Mask Vari. I'm gonna skip to the end of the quest because it's not that necessary to explain, but after finishing this quest, we get the Pure Knight's Blood Medal, which lets me travel to Mogwin's palace. I made my way to this spot and equipped my bow and arrows. I spent some time grinding for runes and making a good amount and leveling up. I then made my way back to Raya Lucaria to where I had my ass beat by the Red Wolf. This time I finally got to wield my greatsword. Entering the boss fight once again, I proceeded to a couple of times, winning the fight and obtaining the trophy, Red Wolf of Radagon. Now before going to the next boss, I went to the Round Table Hole to equip the Lion's Claw Ash of War since I had gotten it earlier but forgot to equip it. Now it's time for the easiest boss of the entire game, Renala, Queen of the Full Moon. I say easiest, but I still died 2 times.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the?
I also got another trophy, Great Rune, for restoring the power of a Great Rune. My next target is Radahn, but I wanted to level up my greatsword because it was only at a +5 after defeating Renala. During this time I came across and defeated other bosses, but sadly they don't have any trophies attached to them. Finally, I was ready and started the boss fight for Radahn. On my first attempt, I almost got him, but I just got a little too greedy and he got me. Giving it another go, I won and unlocked the trophy, Shardbearer Radahn. With the defeat of Radahn, a crater was made and I made my way to it. Descending down, I found myself at Nokron Eternal City. Remember how earlier I said that Renala was the easiest boss? Well, scratch that, because this was the easiest boss fight in the entire game, the Mimic. I cheesed this boss and I know everyone who's gone against it has done the same thing. Removing all of my equipment, I entered the boss fight. When the Mimic appeared, I quickly equipped my greatsword and went to work. Defeating the Mimic got me the trophy, Mimic Tier. While in Nokron, I got my hands on the Mimic Tier Ash of War. I now had the ultimate form of cheese in my inventory, but I will only use it rarely because I don't want it to do all the work. I still gotta suffer a little bit. My goal now is to make my way to Leyendell, but I got distracted and instead found myself at the Volcano Manor. There are 3 trophies I could get here. The first trophy was Godskill Noble for defeating the Godskill Noble. Continuing through the area, I found this portal and went through it. This portal took me right outside the next boss, Rykard, Lord of Blasphemy. As I started my first attempt, it would end up like this. Like every other boss, I died a lot and was ready to leave once again to start the rune grind once again, but I wanted to give it one more shot, and it went perfectly, with the help of my Mimic of course. Sorry, but he was just really annoying, especially in the second phase. Oh, and if you wanted to know how the Volcano Manor stuff ends, here you go.
Ugh.
Yeah, nasty. Moving on, we have one more trophy in this area and it's for defeating Elemer of the Briar. Heading over to the Shaded Castle, making my way to Elemer, and entering the boss fight. Luckily this time around, I got him on my second try. My goal now would be to explore Leyendell. This area has lots of good stuff and much to see. So after doing all that, I found myself at the next boss, Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. Died a good amount, but fun. The next boss was not too far off, and was against Morgoth, the Omen King. This fight was tough. I tried my hardest, and that wasn't enough. As I walked away, I could see him laughing at me. Sad. Before starting the rune grind, I wanted to do other stuff around the map. One thing I forgot to mention was that for this first run, I was going for the Age of Stars End. That meant having to complete Ranni's questline. I had gotten some progress in and found myself at the Lake of Rot. Making my way through this area, I came across this coffin. Getting inside the coffin, I found myself outside the next boss fight. This boss was Astel, natural born of the void. I got straight to work, with a little help of my mimic.
Fuck!
Finishing off Astel, I got the trophy. I then continued the quest for Ranni and finished it. Before I made my way back to Morgoth, I stumbled upon this boss fight against the Valiant Gargoyles. This boss was really annoying because mid-fight another gargoyle decides to jump in, making it a 2v1. I of course died. On my next attempt, I summoned D, pause, and my Mimic tier, now making it a 3v2. Was it fair? No. Do I care? Hey, they started it. Defeating both got me the trophy. I was now outside the boss that made me walk away with my head down. I prepared myself, entering the boss fight once again.
not be forgiven.
With the final hit landing, I won and unlocked Shardbearer Morgoth. I was now prepared to head into the final boss, but I couldn't go through. Sitting at the site of grace, I was met with Melina. After talking with her, I was given the rolled medallion. My new mission was to take Melina to set the Erd Tree aflame. I made my way to the Grand Loft using the rolled medallion, and arrived at the Mountain of the Giants. Now I could head straight to the Erd Tree, but I held off and went to Castle Sol for the left half of the Halleck Tree medallion. Before getting my hands on the piece of the medallion, I had to fight Commander Niall. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Defeating him got me the trophy, and just a bit up ahead, the left half of the medallion. I'll return to this medallion stuff later on in the video. Let's now move on to the big ol' fire giant, the last obstacle standing between me and the Erd Tree. This fight was tough, but it was more annoying as the giant in its second phase would roll around, making distance between me and him. Running back and forth, the trophy popped. Finally arriving at the Erd Tree, sitting down at the site of grace, and talking with Melina one more time, I agreed to commit a cardinal sin which got me the trophy, Erd Tree aflame.
O Erd tree, you shall burn. Burn for the sake of the new Lord. Thank you for guiding me here. The one who walks alongside flame shall one day meet the road of destined death. Goodbye.
What have I done? Arriving at the best looking location in the game, Farum Azula, taking a detour, I headed to the Round Table Hole to upgrade my great sword and got it maxed out, getting me the trophy, God-Slain Armament. Instead of going back to Farum Azula, I remembered one boss I had forgotten about, Mohg. The name alone makes me shiver. I had attempted to fight against him earlier in my run, but it was rough. I came back to this fight and it was looking really rough again. I attempted every run solo, I had no luck whatsoever. This for me was the most difficult boss of the entire game. I have a good reason as to why. Now please correct me if I'm wrong. But all of his moves feel delayed. When he swings, I roll, but I still end up getting hit, and I know it's due to timing, not to mention the range of his swings. I would be a good distance from him only to still get on the head. Some bosses have delays and sure, I could sometimes anticipate them. But with Mohg, it was on another level. I felt like I was playing the game for the first time again. I tried, I really did. Looking at my mimic tier, I had no choice but to use the cheese. Not proud of this one, but I got the trophy, Shardbearer Mohg. Getting back to Farum Azula, the next boss I'm up against is the Godskin Duo. 2v1. Yeah, not on my watch. I called my mimic and put them both on the head, unlocking the trophy. Exploring a bit more, I found myself meeting a good friend, Alexander. Sadly, this would be his end.
You are ready then, I take it? Then let us begin.
I am the great Jar warrior, Alexander. Let me strength, O warriors. Let us become one champion together.
as I suspected. Victory was impossible. This vessel was found lacking. My thanks. I knew you were the stuff of champions. It was a marvelous battle. I implore you, take what I bequeath from inside me. All vessels are destined to one day break. But the great Alexander lived as a warrior to his last.
Even in death, he still manages to help us out with the Shard of Alexander. Thanks, Alexander, and rest well. The next trophy was way out of place. I don't even know why I went for this trophy at this time. After defeating the Godskin duel, I would have gone up against Malekith, but instead, the next boss fight would be up against Lich Dragon Fortisax. A very cool boss accompanied with an even cooler trophy. Malekith is next, and no, I have another boss to fight against. This one, the best one of the entire game. If you take the lift back down to the site of grace before fighting Malekith, running past these nice fellas, dropping down and following the path ahead, lay down and watch the best intro to a boss behold your eyes. Isn't that just scary? The boss I'm going after is Dragon Lord Placidusax. Seeing this for the first time was really cool, and fighting him was even better. Although I did use my Mimic tier, I did die a lot. But eventually I obtained the trophy. I finally arrived outside Malekith's door, calling my Mimic and getting the trophy, Malekith the Black Blade.
is unbound. And the lands between are shrouded by death's dark fate. But the flames will also burn the impenetrable thorns. Farewell it is then. You'll be Elden Lord yet.
I awoke at Leyendell and fought against Gideon.
I knew you'd come to stand before the Elden Ring, to become Elden Lord, to set the state of affairs. I commend your spirit, but alas, none shall take the throne. Queen Marika has high hopes for us.
Easy. Before fighting the next boss ahead, I took a detour going up against some bosses I haven't gotten around to fighting yet. The Magma Wormmaker, the Ancestor Spirit, the Regal Ancestor Spirit, and the Dragonkin Soldier of Noxtella. What a mouthful. Remember back when I got the left side of the Halictree medallion? I'm now going for the other half, finding the other right half with this NPC. Having both sides, I went back to the Grand Loft and held up the secret medallion, taking me to Miquella's Halictree. This place was rough for me to get through at first. The area is small in its pass and the enemies hit like a truck. Now let's talk about the trophies to obtain in this area. 2 bosses and one of them notorious for being difficult and a pain in the ass. The first boss being someone we have already fought earlier on, Loretta, Knight of the Halictree. Early on in the game, this boss was a pain to fight. This time around, on my first attempt, not only did I win, but I never got hit once. Making some good progress and getting killed by some annoying enemies, I arrived at the dreaded boss everyone hates, Millennia. I was scared, and the thought of sinking a lot of time on one boss was making me rethink if going for the platinum was a good idea. Yet, I entered the boss fight and got my ass whooped for a good 2.5 hours. I'm not lying. It was getting to me, especially after this death. Yeah, as you can see, it is clear there is no health. Maybe she was at 1 HP, but this is some bullshit. I had to leave it there because I was seeing no progress. I came back the next day and got the trophy with a clear mind, and with the help of my mimic. Back in Leyendell, I made my way to the site of Grace where I had previously fought Morgoth, and saw this. Another boss, Horalu Warrior. Hope I pronounced that right. Horalu Warrior? This boss gave me a hard time. At this point, I was tired, so I caught up on my Mimic tier. I felt bad, but I just didn't want to go through what Millennia put me through again.
Tarnished. Thy strength beneath the same crown.
Resting at the site of Grace, I then started making my way to the final boss of the game. Approaching the thorns, I used the Rune of Death and made my way in. The final boss fight of the game consists of 2 stages, the first one being Radagon of the Golden Order. I of course caught upon my Mimic tier. I know it takes away from fighting in 1v1, but on later runs, I did it solo. After defeating Radagon, we get to the second stage, the Elden Beast. This boss fight shares the first place spot with Placidusax as one of the best looking areas and coolest looking bosses, and this one beats Placidusax in its music, the best OST of the entire game. I didn't want to end the fight due to how majestic it was, but I had to. Surprisingly, both bosses have no trophy attached to them. Bummer, but I did get one for the ending, which was the Age of Stars ending.
The battle is over, I see. I do solemnly swear to every living being and every living soul. Now cometh the age of the stars. 1,000-year voyage under the wisdom of the moon. Here beginneth the chill night that encompasses all, reaching the great beyond. Into fear, doubt, and loneliness, as the path stretcheth into darkness. Well then, shall we? My fair consort eternal.
Most people who go after the Platinum Trophy have a cheat strat so that they don't have to replay the game 2 more times for the 2 different endings. Not here. I was loving the game so much, I decided to play the game 2 more times going after the 2 different endings separately. Was it time consuming? Yes, but I didn't care. Starting off my next run, I was going to focus on the bosses that progress the story. Arriving once again to Leyendell, here's a trophy I locked myself out of in the first run, Mohg the Omen. You might be wondering, wait, didn't you already fight Mohg? Yes, I did, but this version is different. The way to get to Mohg is easier said than done, as you have to do a bunch of running under the city, and if you die at any point, then you have to start the journey just to get outside the boss room where there is a site of grace. Entering the boss fight with this version of Mohg isn't difficult at all. One thing before I move on, yes, the way to get to the Frenzied Flame ending is right in front of me, but me being an idiot, I failed to realize that. Another thing I was focusing on were these sets of trophies, the collectibles, the legendary ashes, legendary spells and incantations, legendary armaments, and legendary talismans. Going after all these trophies at the same time was really stressful because I needed to be careful because progressing the story too much would lock me out of being able to obtain some of the items I needed to get for the trophies. I'm not going to go into detail as to what I did to get them because that would add another 30 minutes to this really long video. After some time, I made it once again to the end and got the base ending, Elden Lord.
The fallen leaves tell a story of how a tarnished became Elden Lord. In our home, across the fog, the lands between. Our seed will look back upon us and recall an age of fracture.
Second place was done, one more to go. Close to the end, the final trophy to go after is Lord of Frenzied Flame.
You have inherited the frenzied flame. A pity. You are no longer fit. Our journey together ends here. And remember, should you rise as the Lord of Chaos, I will kill you. As sure as night follows day, such is my duty. For allowing you the strength of runes. Goodbye, my companion. Goodbye, Torrent.
I had to go through the entire game one more time, and after doing all that, I got to the end for the last time, popping the final trophy and also getting the platinum trophy for Elden Ring.
Lord of Frenzied Flame. I will seek you as far as you may travel. To deliver you what is yours. Destined death.
God, I love this game. I fell in love with Elden Ring, and I plan to go after the platinum trophies for other From Software titles. I'm kinda leaning toward Bloodborne because of the setting and combat being fast paced and all. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have the platinum, how hard was it for you, and who's your favorite boss? Well, that's all for now. Thanks for watching the video. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel as it'll really help me out a lot. Thanks again, and until the next one.